Hey, thank you for stopping by my channel. Today I want to talk to you about manifesting with lists. Something really super easy and something that I've been doing now for many years. It all started, must be about 12 years ago, 12 years ago, where I came across a book by R.H.J. and it's called It Works, also known as the Little Red Book. It's basically a pamphlet. It's in the public domain. It was written, about 100 years ago or so. And the idea behind manifesting through this It Works book is so simple. It's basically writing a list, and things you put down on the list manifest into reality. So it sounds really easy, and it is. Now the idea behind this in the pamphlet is that you write your list, and a couple of times a day you look at your list, you reread your list, you cross things out when they happen, you cross things out when you don't want it anymore. So it's kind of like an evolving list. So I thought I would try this out years ago, and I started to write lists, nothing more than putting down things that I desired to manifest. And I wasn't really very consistent with it. So I'd get notebooks, I'd write it, and then a couple of years later or months later, I'd find my books, and I would be amazed at how many things would actually manifest on my list. And I didn't follow it to the letter. I literally would sit down for an hour or so one afternoon and write things that I would like to happen. So that got my interest. And then about 6 years ago, I was giving a talk. I didn't know what to give a talk about, so I decided to talk about manifesting. And I used that same principle again of just writing a list. Now I started about 2 months before I was due to give a talk. So I wrote down things that I would like to manifest. And I put some easy things and some things I thought, whoa, that's never going to happen. So I was doubting myself right from the very beginning. But I did it anyway because I wanted to talk about whether this manifesting process actually worked. So when I came to give the talk and I sat down to prepare for it, things that I'd put on the list that I thought were out of my range of reality or possibility actually happened. Not all of them, but one of the big things was manifesting a new boiler, because at the time our boiler had just broken down. We had hot water, but we didn't have any heating, but we didn't have the money to get a new boiler. But one happened for free. So that was like the biggest thing. And although I knew that there was something in manifesting, this easy way, I hadn't really applied myself to it. So that was that. And I carried on from time to time, still writing in the notebooks, did my little talk, was totally blown away. I reckon about 50% of what I put on the list happened within a short time frame, because I'd only given myself a couple of months to test it all out. So I carried on doing that kind of thing from time to time. But last year, about this time last year, I came across a video by Rune Soup. It's on YouTube, and it was creating a sigil a day. Now, a sigil is a magical symbol you create that encapsulates your desire, what you want to manifest in reality. You use letters and then you make a pretty little symbol, or maybe sometimes not so pretty. So the idea is that you are taking what you want from your thoughts, from your desires, from your emotions, and you're making it into a little symbol. And then because it's embedded in your subconscious mind will go and help you create that reality that you want, those things that you want to manifest. So there was a challenge by Rune Soup for 2024 to create a sigil a day. And at first I thought, oh wow, that is a lot, 366 sigils. And I thought, I can't even conceive of what I would actually want. How could I find 366 things that I would like to see manifested? Not just in this year, but some of the things are longer term. But I thought, okay, I'm going to try it. So at the beginning of the year, I started to write another list actually. But I was also doing a sigil, but I wanted to have a way of seeing if my desires were manifesting. Now there are two schools of thought on sigils. One is that you put it out there, you forget completely about it, you can't even remember what you did. And there's others like mine where I like to tick things off. So I went with my approach. So I started to do a sigil a day, and I did this for about 4 or 5 months. So I was every day write a different sigil, but I also kept a list. I would handwrite it and then I would type it up. So I've got a record of it. But by April, May, I was like, oh, well, this is great. What would happen if I didn't do a sigil and I just wrote a list? Because I'm really lazy when it comes to manifesting. So for the rest of the year, that's what I've been doing. So I have written something every day for something that I would like to manifest. So now I have a year's worth of experiments to look through. And looking back on my list, there's no difference between what I started writing 2 little sigils with and the rest of the year where I have just written a list. There isn't a greater success rate with either, and I think generally overall I have manifested about 60-65% of my list through, basically no effort. Of course, you have to take inspired action if things are pressed on your mind to do something, to get something. That's an important thing. Just writing it on a list and not engaging with your life is going to be challenging to bring those things into existence. I wouldn't like to say it's impossible, because nothing is impossible, but you might be waiting a very long time or things won't happen. So these are the things that I have learned from writing my manifesting list this year. First thing is to add some little things on your list that are in the process of already manifesting, or you know that they're low-hanging fruit. They're very easy. For example, we played board games as a family, and there was a board game that I wanted, so I put a board game on the list, a particular board game, and that manifested because I was looking on Amazon, they had a deal, so I bought it, but I could cross it off. So I think it's really important not to write your list with so many huge things that you want to desire, because you want to train your subconscious mind, or it's probably your conscious mind, that this thing is working. So you want to be able to see things manifesting in your reality. You want to be able to cross things off your list. So of course you could put things like, I want to be a billionaire. Go for it. But also put something like, I desire a new pair of shoes. Do that, because you know that the shoes might take a lot less time to manifest in this reality than being a billionaire. So include on your list really easy, doable, your part invested in it anyway kind of things, because it really does train your mind to see what is possible. And if you can do the little things, then you know that you can do the big things. Another tip is to make sure that you are not super emotionally invested in the things that you desire to happen. If you have no money in the bank and you have your rent to pay by the end of the month, of course, put it on your list as something that it would be nice for it to happen. If you can just approach your list of things that, oh, that would be lovely for that to happen, oh, that would be nice for that to happen, oh, I'd like that to happen, rather than this needs to happen because if it doesn't, my life is going to fall apart. It's to almost approach your list as something playful. It's great if it happens, but life's also going to be great if it doesn't happen. So that would be my second piece of advice. So put low-hanging fruit on your list and look at it as something that you would like. A much more gentle approach than you need, because need or wants indicate that there is a lack. And this is a game of playing with the universe rather than demanding things to happen. Another thing, add things that seem to be out of your reach. Play with it, be playful, put the big things on, intersperse them with the little things, and really tap into the things that you desire in life. And first of all, it might seem daunting, because I do challenge you, do this for 2025. Get a book, get a notebook. I created a little PDF in my, you can get that in my Etsy shop if you want, but you just don't need that. You can just use a notebook. Write something down, because it also focuses on what you really want in life. And don't just put material things. Put things like, maybe you want the inspiration to start a business, or you want the inspiration to find your first country that you want to go travelling to. So think about things that are also intangible, but you can actually cross them off because you know that they have manifested. For example, I put some things on my list which sounded really good at the time, and looking back on it, I'm thinking, well, how am I ever going to know if that's manifested? So watch what you put on. You want to be able to actually say, oh yeah, I know for sure that has manifested in my reality and I can cross it off, rather than having something so ambiguous that you'll always be questioning, is like, well, did that happen? Did that not happen? My next tip is, don't be afraid to cross off things that no longer resonate with you. I put a couple of things on my list, more than a couple, that I thought I wanted at the time, and give it a couple of months, nothing has manifested in that department. I look back on it, I think, no, do you know what, I don't really want that. So cross it off. Make your list for the year something that is fluid and flexible and grows with you as you change, because you're not going to be the same person in a year's time as you are today. So all I can do is suggest that you give it a go. I know that thinking about manifesting or writing something every day for a year, 365 little things in 2025, seems huge, but I think you will learn a lot about yourself by doing it, and who knows what kind of magic you're going to manifest by the end of this time next year. And all it takes is a pen and a piece of paper. Or another tip, I would suggest doing it in handwriting, because there's something really magical about actually handwriting something. You could use pen and paper, or you could use an app. I did type up my handwritten notes. I don't know how I would feel myself about just typing it up. I do like to actually input something personal to myself into my manifesting, and your handwriting is unique. So what I would love for you to do is please try it, give it a go, see what happens, and just play with this idea of creating with the universe and changing your reality to something that you want, rather than you feel is being given to you. What have you got to lose at this point? So thank you so much for listening, and have fun and have the most amazing time manifesting with a list. It really is easy, and you'll be amazed at how many things you can cross off. So thank you for listening.